So, crazily enough, Thermaltake contacted me about doing a review for a couple of their keyboard and mouse combos, despite past reviews not being so favourable about their attempts at these products, so let's hope this Commander Pro combo can change all that. This combo was priced quite high at 99 Aussie dollars, but it is currently on sale at the time of writing this for 77 Aussie dollars at EB Games, but it isn't sold in the US. As always, let's start off with the tour. On the left hand side of the mouse is two side buttons which are positioned well, with the front button feeling sturdy but the rear feeling a little bit hollow. There are shallow plastic dimples for grip which actually do an alright job, and I didn't find my fingers slipping off when they were sweaty. On the right hand side is just more of those plastic dimples. Out the front is a rubberized 1.8 meter cable terminating into a USB 2.0 connector, allowing the mouse to connect at a 1000Hz polling rate. On top is the left and right click buttons, which have good resistance and use micro switches rated at 10 million clicks, which is fairly average for a budget mouse. The scroll wheel is rubber coated and sturdy, with decent step definition and good actuation. There is a single DPI switch located behind that, which allows you to change between the 4 DPI profiles of 1200, which is blue, 1600, which is pink, 2400, which is red, and 3200, which is purple. The logo on the palm area is what changes colour for a second during DPI selection to represent each DPI, which is kinda weird as your palm is usually covering this area when doing so. Speaking of the logo, it is of course the TtEsports logo, which is oddly on its own colour cycle mode, separate from the lighting strip around the mouse body, and you can't manually change it or get it to sync with the strip itself. Speaking of the strip, it runs along the entire bottom section of the mouse, with some sections being brighter than others due to the LED positioning. This lighting area, however, along with either side of the scroll wheel, can be changed by a button on the bottom of the mouse, and the colours are red, blue, green, yellow, purple, light blue, or white, or with a slow colour cycle effect the same as the logo on the palm area, or you can even just switch the lighting off, which again, oddly doesn't seem to affect the logo. Underneath is 3 decent sized plastic feet, which do an alright job of allowing the mouse to glide, but I was hoping for Teflon feet at this price point. The only information Thermaltake has on the sensor, according to the product page, is that it's gaming grade, which that phrase actually gets mentioned a lot on the product page, so Thermaltake, cut that marketing bullshit out, please. Speaking to my Thermaltake contact though, he told me slightly more information in that it is a PixArt optical sensor, so my guess is probably that it's a 3050, which is a decent enough sensor. The mouse is quite well made, considering it's mostly plastic, and has little to no flex when manipulating the body. The mouse shape is symmetrical, meaning it could be used for both left and right-handed users. Size-wise, the mouse is 123mm long, 68mm wide, and 36mm high, making it a fairly average mouse to fit most people. Weight-wise, the mouse is 80 grams, which is actually quite light, making it good for quick flicks and drags. Okay, let's move on to the keyboard. This is a full-sized 104 key keyboard, but also has additional dedicated media switches which are always appreciated. Some additional keys to note when coupled with the function key is F9 through to 12 has a few quick launch functions tied to them. If you push the W key, it'll switch the W, A, S and D keys with the arrow keys, which I can't think of a use for, but it's there, and there is also lighting controls tied to the home area keys. Speaking of lighting, the print screen key changes the keyboard to a single colour, the same as the mouse colours, with home cycling through them until you hit white, then oddly you have to push N to cycle back to the starting blue. Weird, but okay. Scroll lock changes the effect to slowly fading in and out of each colour, but there is no speed control available. Pause break changes the board to the classic colour cycling effect, again with no speed control. Page up and page down changes between the 4 levels of brightness, which weirdly only affects the single static colour mode, and finally, delete resets the colour profile back to factory default, which is just the colour cycling effect. The lighting is pretty vibrant, but unfortunately only shines out around the keys as the keycaps aren't translucent. Speaking of the keycaps, they are a strange size. We're not being full keycaps, they are also not really low profile either, but the font is nice, simple and legible. The good thing though is the keys are quite sturdy, with minimal wobble and feel alright to type with. Here is of course the typing test. Under the keycaps is of course membrane switches, also known as rubber dome switches, which aren't exactly my favourite, but this is a budget board, so you can't really be expecting much better I suppose. One cool feature they have managed to implement is 24 key anti-ghosting or N key rollover, which if you are someone who needs more than 24 keys simultaneously, you are either a freak of nature or a StarCraft player, so maybe this board isn't for you. Protruding at the top is a 1.8 meter rubberized cable that terminates into a USB 2.0 connector to allow this keyboard to connect at a 1000Hz polling rate. Underneath are 4 stiff textured rubber pads and 2 plastic flip out feet, which do an okay-ish job of holding the board in place from accidental knocks. Let's talk about this board's design for a sec, because there is one thing about it that really annoys me and prevents me from recommending this combo, and it's this giant drop here on the front lip. It makes the board so uncomfortable to type on without a wrist rest, as your wrists basically sit 90 degrees vertical against the board, which will cause some strain and just a massive design flaw due to its overall height. Build quality is okay, with the board consisting of mostly plastic and only having a moderate amount of flex, but the board does make a clicking sound in the top right when flexed. Size wise, we are looking at 460mm long, 163mm wide, and 40mm high, with the legs extended. Weight wise, the board is 749 grams, which is actually on the lighter side for a keyboard. Up now is the testing portion, where I first test lift-off distance of the mouse, by slowly lowering it towards the mouse mat until the sensor gets picked up. Unfortunately, this is a fail, as it got recognised too high above the mouse mat for my liking, meaning when you place the mouse back down, the cursor will have moved, meaning you'll have to adjust your aim once lowered. The next test is line prediction, which is tested by trying to draw a straight line and seeing if the sensor unnaturally corrects it. Again, this is another fail, as the sensor tried to correct the line to make it more perfect than I was drawing, which can have an impact when trying to have pixel perfect aim. The next test is sensor skipping, which is tested by drawing a continual spiral and checking for any breaks within the image that the sensor might have skipped over. Thankfully, this is a pass, as the spiral stayed connected the entire time. My last mouse only test is acceleration, which is done by rapidly dragging your mouse between 2 points in game and seeing if the sensor speeds up the drag, making it hard to precisely stop at either point. Unfortunately, this is also a fail, as there is a bit of noticeable acceleration, which can again affect your aim. The final test is a good gaming session, where I played Modern Warfare for a few hours to see how the combo holds up for its main purpose, which is gaming of course.
Taking the lead. UAV ready for friendly. Reloading.
I had no issue with the keyboard apart from a sore wrist, and every input was recognised the first time, but I did notice a few times with the mouse it was quite hard to quickly drag it perfectly on target or adjust it slightly for a long distance shot, but this is something with time and muscle memory you can adjust to, but I just don't like unnatural acceleration personally. In conclusion, as I said before, I just can't recommend this combo due to how uncomfortable the keyboard is unless you have a wrist rest or are willing to purchase one, and also I don't feel this combo is worth the $99 price tag, but if you can pick it up for the sale price of $77 or better, it's at least in contention. If you can overlook that design flaw, this combo is better than the Devastator 3, with a better mouse, nicer lighting and more keyboard features, but it's just not worth the full price in my opinion. If you enjoyed this review, leave a like, and if you really enjoyed it, please consider subscribing for more reviews and other content in the future. If you have a suggestion, question, or criticism, leave a comment. Thank you very much for watching.